It's August 2024 and I'm in the outskirts of the Dutch city of Arnhem and in all parts of the Netherlands at the same time at the Openluchtmuseum. Located about 2 miles north of the centre of Arnhem, the 44 hectares of the Nederlands Openluchtmuseum Museum bring together buildings from across the country and across the centuries to give an idea how the Dutch would have lived in times gone past. As with other open-air museums, the buildings have been carefully dismantled from their original locations and then painstakingly reassembled on site in the museum's grounds, grouped together by theme. And this wouldn't be the Netherlands without a nod to their fantastic public transport, with the different parts of the site linked together by a tram line run using historic trams from across the country to quickly link you between the different areas. The trams run between the entrance and 6 main areas of the site, which are Langoid, or country estate, Linttuinen, which houses a linear section of buildings, Lint, and different gardens, Tuinen. Platteland is the countryside and includes many of the site's windmills, as well as a former dairy factory. Dorp, or the village, is home to many of the historic residential and commercial buildings on site, along with the tram depot. The final area is Earthen, or farmlands, which houses the collection of farmhouses, barns and related buildings. The museum was the idea of Frederick Adolf Hofer, who originally proposed the idea of opening a museum housing historic Dutch buildings in 1912 after visits to similar parks such as Skansen in Stockholm. Due to increasing industrialisation and urbanisation, the regional differences, traditions and crafts of the Netherlands were in danger of being lost. Even from the beginning, the museum would have interactivity with knowledgeable people showing visitors how people used to live and work. The park opened its doors on the 13th of July 1918, initially with 6 buildings, with the collection continuing to grow over the years. Today there are over 40 buildings on the site. After the Battle of Arnhem in 1944, the museum was occupied for some time by several hundred evacuees, with at least 3 births being recorded in the museum during that period. The tram line is actually a late addition to the site, only arriving in 1996 with a renewal of the site. The trams are heritage vehicles coming from Rotterdam, Den Haag and Amsterdam, as well as Arnhem. The tram depot is one of the few buildings that wasn't a transplant from elsewhere, being built as a replica of the Arnhem tram depot that was destroyed in 1944. I took advantage of the trams to work my way around the park in the same anti-clockwise pattern that trams take, with my first stop in the entrance being the Langoid, or country estate section of the park. If you'd like to see the full raw footage for a full circuit of the park by tram at normal speed, use the link in the top right hand corner or in the description below. The country estate includes some of the larger buildings on the site, including the impressive Tower Mill from Delft. It's possible to climb up inside the mill and head out onto the balcony to see the awesome power of the sails flying past in what was only a light breeze. The country estate section blends into the linear or Lint section of the park. This contains a number of different types of buildings arranged down a street, including a summer house from Meppel in the northeast of the Netherlands. There's a row of workers' houses from Tilburg, reconstructed as they would have looked at various points in their existence. The first house shows you the buildings as they would have looked like in the 1970s, and you can then work your way back through time through the 1950s, 1910s, and back to the 1860s in the last house. A quick tram ride round to the Lint stop to continue more of the Lint section, as well as the gardens of the museum. The chapel from St Herenhoek is a 17th century eyeless church. The church is laid out as it would have done at the start of the 20th century, but there is still a segregation in the congregation, with a woman sitting on the chairs in the centre of the church and the men occupying the pews along the side walls. One more stop round on the tram to countryside or Platteland area, home to one of the largest buildings in the park, a dairy factory from Zielwoerden. The next stop on the tram takes you round to the busiest part of the museum in terms of buildings and activity, Dorp, or the village. Dorp is home to many of the residential buildings, but it's also home to a reconstruction of the Arnhem tram depot, destroyed in 1944 and recreated here in time for the launch of tram services in 1996. Opposite the tram depot is a reconstructed goods sheds from Tiel station. Inside the tram depot, there are more of the museum's collection of historic tram vehicles, along with the maintenance and restoration facilities used to keep the vehicles in service. You can even descend down into the maintenance pit beneath the tram, in this case one from Amsterdam, to see what a tram looks like from underneath. If you time it right, you can be at the depot at the same time as the tram is being taken out of service and watch it reverse back into the sidings. From Dorp, the tram next stop at urban or farm fields, with a large collection of farmhouses and other farm buildings. But it's also a convenient stop for the bottom end of Dorp, including the very Dutch drawbridge from Uitkerk aan de Amstel, with a very Dutch view of a couple of windmills, in this case a sawmill from Numsdorp and a drainage mill from Noordelaren. The large farmhouse in Hugmad is one of the major buildings in the urban section. From Urban, the tram completes its loop round the site and back to Entree. Arnhem Centraal is a major railway junction in the east of the Netherlands on lines to Amsterdam, Leeuwarden and Nijmegen. There are regular intercity services to Cologne, Frankfurt and Basel, as well as German regional trains to Wiesel, Oberhausen, Duisburg and Düsseldorf. Dutch national operator NS run trains every 30 minutes to Amsterdam Centraal via Utrecht, taking just over an hour, but also half-hourly trains direct to Schiphol Airport, also via Utrecht, taking 75 minutes. Amsterdam Schiphol is one of Europe's major hub airports, home to KLM, with connections across the globe.